Hey, my billionaires! In this episode, we're diving into how to avoid common financial blind spots. Which stock should I buy? Should I invest in Bitcoin? When it comes to managing money, do these questions immediately pop into your mind? But before we tackle these complicated topics, let's first talk about some basic financial principles everyone should know. In this episode, I'll share the top 3 financial mistakes people make. If you're struggling with your finances, avoiding these behaviors might just be the key to turning things around. No more small talk. Let's get started. Mistake number 1, prioritizing the wrong debts. Most of us carry some kind of debt, whether it's for buying a house, a car, or swiping that credit card at the mall. Admit it, shopping feels great in the moment, right? But it's an illusion. You don't see the money physically leaving your hands, so it's easy to overspend. Before you know it, you're drowning in debt. Remember, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Debt comes with a price, interest. The higher the interest rate, the more you'll pay in the end, and the longer it will take to pay it off. So let's take control of those finances and focus on paying off high-interest debts first. Let's look at an example. Suppose your credit card balance is $5,000 with an annual interest rate of 18%. If you make the minimum monthly payment of $130, it would take you about 4 years to pay off the balance. In the end, you'd end up paying around $2,000 in interest alone. This is why, if you have unpaid debt and some disposable income, it's generally a good idea to prioritize paying off your debt as quickly as possible. But what if you have multiple loans at the same time, like student loans, credit card debt, car loans, or even a mortgage? In such cases, which loan should you pay off first? One common approach is the debt snowball method. This strategy focuses on paying off the smallest balance first, so you can quickly eliminate one debt. It's popular because paying off a debt completely gives a sense of accomplishment, like hitting a milestone, which motivates you to tackle the next one. However, there's a downside. This method doesn't prioritize the most important factor in debt management, interest rates. Interest rates determine how much your debt costs over time. The higher the interest rate, the heavier the debt burden, and the harder it is to pay off. That's where another strategy, the debt avalanche method, comes in. This method involves making minimum payments on all your debts each month, while using any remaining cash to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate. The advantage of this approach is that it minimizes the total amount of interest paid over time. However, it requires strong discipline to stick to the plan, as the initial progress might feel slower compared to the snowball method. In my opinion, both the snowball and avalanche methods have their own strengths, and there's no definitive right or wrong choice. The key lies in our own willpower and execution. However, there's one situation that requires extra caution. High-interest debt must be paid off as soon as possible, and the faster, the better. What qualifies as high interest? I would say anything above 7 to 8% is already quite high for most consumers. Pay special attention. Some people might think, it doesn't matter. I'm not borrowing from loan sharks, so this doesn't apply to me. But in reality, there's something almost everyone uses: credit cards, and they are high-interest debt. In today's society, many of us start relying on credit cards for spending as soon as we graduate from college. Since credit card transactions are virtual, it's easy to spend more than we realize. By the end of the month, when we look at the bill, we're shocked at how much we've spent. And what's worse is that credit card interest rates are typically 17% or higher. This means credit card debt significantly increases the hidden cost of our purchases. This brings us to the second key point of this podcast, which is overspending. A survey from June 2024 revealed that the personal savings rate for U.S. households was only 3.4%. Many families live paycheck to paycheck, relying on every dollar they earn to cover essentials, pay off debts, and so on. This means that if an unexpected event occurs, such as missing a paycheck, a family could quickly face serious financial difficulties. This is an unstable financial situation. During an economic downturn, the last thing you want is to find yourself trapped in such a fragile position. That's why building an emergency fund is so important. Ideally, this fund should cover at least 3 months of expenses, in case of a financial crisis or loss of income. To save for this emergency fund, many people wonder if they can start a side hustle to increase their income. However, in reality, it's often easier to focus on cutting unnecessary expenses each month than trying to generate extra income. This leads us to a common mistake: not paying attention to daily expenses. For example, if you go out with friends every week and spend $25 each time, that adds up to $1,300 a year just on dining out. If you save that money instead, you could use it to pay off extra credit card debt, make car payments, or build your emergency fund. Some of you might think, I don't go to fancy restaurants or shop extravagantly, so why is my spending still so high each month? What's going on? Often the answer to this problem lies in small, seemingly insignificant purchases. Maybe you think it's just a cup of coffee from Starbucks, a $20 gadget in the evening, a hot pot dinner, or a trip to the movies. Each expense feels trivial on its own, but when added up, they can become a significant amount. This is something we all need to pay attention to. No matter how much we earn, whether it's $50,000 or $150,000, if you spend every dollar you make, it doesn't matter how high your income is. I understand, though. It's hard to resist material temptations, especially in the age of social media. We often see friends showing off their new cars, clothes, or vacations. Online, it seems like everyone is living an amazing life. But here's an important mindset to adopt. Just because you see your friends buying lots of nice things doesn't mean you need to do the same. Impulse purchases often lead to regret. How many times have we bought something, used it once or twice, and then let it collect dust on a shelf? This is why it's so important to learn to distinguish between needs and wants. Here's an example. Do you need those new shoes, or do you just want them? Every time you consider buying something, ask yourself this question. If it's a need and fits your budget, go ahead and buy it. But if it's a want, take a moment to think about the impact of that purchase. Ask yourself, what benefit will these shoes bring you? Will they truly make you happy in the long run? How many times do you think you'll wear them? Through this thought process, you can clearly evaluate how this purchase might affect your life and decide if the item is worth the price. If resisting shopping impulses is difficult for you, here's a tip. Create a shopping list. Write down the items you need so you know exactly what to buy and stick to that list. Alternatively, find a reliable shopping partner. Their job is to either talk you out of unnecessary purchases or at least help you pause and think. This could be a family member or a friend who's willing to take on this role. This approach allows you to see your lifestyle from a different perspective. While it might not drastically improve your financial situation overnight, it can help you adopt a more rational attitude toward your needs. Maybe what you really want is a simpler life and the freedom to retire early. The third mistake brings us to the topic of retirement. Many of us believe that in investing, the amount of money is the most important factor. As a result, we often wait until we feel we have enough money before starting to invest. But in reality, time is our greatest ally. Long-term investing is likely the most crucial factor in achieving good returns. As Warren Buffett once said, the shade he enjoys today is thanks to a tree he planted long ago. There's no better time than now to start thinking about investing. Just like a tree needs time to grow, most wise investments require the same patience. Starting early with a monthly investment in index funds could help you retire several years or even decades earlier. According to a report by Vanguard, one of the largest investment management companies in the US, a 100% stock portfolio grew by an average of 10.2% per year between 1926 and 2019. Of course, this is historical data and doesn't guarantee a 10% return every year. But for simplicity, let's use 10% as an estimate. If you invest $100 per month, in 10 years, it could grow to $20,655, with roughly 40% coming from investment returns. This example assumes a $100 monthly investment, but you can adjust the amount based on your financial situation. As we mentioned earlier, finding ways to earn more or spend less could make it easier to increase your monthly investment to $200 or even $300. The key is consistency. Don't interrupt your long-term commitment. Finally, it's critical to have a financial plan. It doesn't have to be perfect. No one can predict what will happen in 20, 10, or even 5 years. But having a plan allows you to start managing your money now, helping you achieve your financial goals in the future. In summary, avoiding financial pitfalls comes down to 3 key areas. Paying off the right debts first, focus on high-interest debts, and consider strategies like the debt snowball or debt avalanche methods to stay on track. Controlling daily spending. Learn to distinguish between needs and wants, avoid impulsive purchases, and build an emergency fund to safeguard against unexpected situations. Starting to invest early, time is your best ally. Begin small, stay consistent, and leverage the power of long-term investments to achieve financial freedom. Remember, financial success isn't about how much you earn. It's about how wisely you manage your money. Start taking small steps today, and you'll thank yourself in the future. All right, my billionaires. That's it for this episode. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next deep dive into the world of finance. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.